Hey everyone, Josh here. So today we're working at another CJAA that won't start. So I bought this car. The complaint was it shut off going down the road and won't start again. It was taken to Volkswagen for a diagnostics, thinking the timing belt broke because it does have 262,000 on the original belt, or possibly that the pump failed. Volkswagen's diagnostic is that the immobilizer is active and it needs a new cluster as well as reprogramming it. I did a little bit of testing in the last video when I meant to go pick this up, and I think I've got one good key and two that aren't programmed. So we're going to go back to the basics. We're going to check for air going in, air going out, fuel, just to double check that, and then make sure it's all timed. So I've already done a CJAA no start with no code video here a couple months ago, I guess, and I think there's a few little differences on this one, so I figured it would be worthwhile to make another video. So let's get started. Okay, so first up, the quickest and easiest thing to check first is fuel. The last CJAA no start video I did went into a bit of detail on the CP4 pump here, how it fails. The previous dealer that diagnosed the mobilizer issue as what's causing the no start pulled this off to check for flakes, because I guess if there's flakes in here, they'll probably be in here, which they said's clean. The issue with taking that off is you get fuel everywhere and the serpentine belt's now soaked in it. I've had those curl up in a ball and fall off, and then these fall into the timing cover and wreck your timing belt. So that's got to get done pretty soon. So while cranking, I have 450 bars on VCDS rail pressure. So that's lots. That other one I think was 370 to 400. So I don't think I have a fuel issue there. Next up will be air. So I've taken this top boost pipe off, same as the last video. You got your ASB in here. It's sitting in the open spot how it should. You've also got your intake flaps, your lever in there. So you just want to make sure it's not falling off and getting jammed. So the other car with that top pipe off, it would run until you let the clutch out and then it would stall. Because it didn't have an issue air going in, it had an issue air going out. So we're gonna just crank it and see what happens here. Okay, so I've got the matched key in it right now. It's in park. Okay, so that's extremely similar to that last car, because before it was like identical. It would kind of catch and miss and not quite run. As soon as I took that pipe off, it would run until I let the clutch out. This is a DSG, so it's got a bit more rotational, I guess, force or whatever. Like, it's going to take a bit more for the engine to run. So I really was going to check the timing belt to make sure it hadn't stretched to get the pump and the cam out of time. But I seriously think I need to just skip and go right to either a turbo issue or an after treatment issue. So that last CJAA I did, it was tuned and it had a high flow downpipe, I guess would be the correct word to use. This one is still stock. So that one had a broken turbo shaft, which it was getting jammed over and wouldn't let exhaust flow out. I could hold it in with a pry bar and it would run until it got pushed back out again. The other thing is the DPF can face plug and it won't let air out as well. So I'm going to check DPF pressure, I think, with VCDS here, and then probably get this DPF slid back to check the turbo here. All right, so we're in the car here. Advanced measuring values. So let's get that. So particulate filter offset, I'm not sure what that is. Particular filter different pressure. Yeah, so I'm not sure what these three are reading, but I'm figuring if the pressure goes way up, then we don't have an issue. Soot loading calculated and soot loading measured, 8.4 grams, which isn't much at all. So we'll try cranking it here. I gotta cycle the key. Everybody's back. issue is I'm not sure if it's gonna read it quick enough, but so I'm not sure if this is a bit of a flawed test or not, but I would have figured something would have spiked up there. Okay, so we're gonna get this DPF moved over, so we have to get the low pressure EGR unhooked there, and then the mount bolts right there, and then we'll go up top and we'll do the V-band up there. I think it should be able to shimmy away enough to get your fingers into the turbo. Okay, so I got the mount undone underneath, like the 2 bolts are showed there, and the low pressure EGR. Up top here, we've got the V-band clamp, which it was seized on there, so you gotta use a screwdriver to kind of get it off of the V. And then obviously the gasket. There is a bolt in behind these hoses here. Be right about where this timing belt is, straight down. A nice long extension fits in there nicely. It's a 13 mil bolt. And then this differential sensor here, it's got that screw that went into the valve cover there, because this is a fairly rigid sensor. So now you can, I'll get the light out of the way. You stick your fingers in there, you got lots of space. And this one, that turbo is locked up solid, so I can't get it to move. I'm gonna try giving it a tap with a hammer here and see if it doesn't, I'm not sure if it's pushed out against the housing tight or if the bearing just seized up in it. I'm gonna do some extremely precise measuring here. I've got a deep 10 mil. Probably end up dropping it into the DPF here yet. So basically that's on the turbo nut there, and you can see it's quite a ways sticking out, like a good thumb's width. If we go to my $400 engine here, we'll check the turbo. The socket pretty well disappears in there, so I'm thinking it's pushed out. So I'm gonna get the socket on here and try and give it a tap. I can't really get in there very good with the pry bar. Okay, there's not a chance I can move it, so I'm not sure if it's slid out or seized, or I'm not sure what's going on. But anyways, turbo is bad. Quick and simple answer. So I really wanted to hear the engine run because I haven't yet. So I was thinking I should be able to take this EGR pipe off and just kind of bend it up so it blows it away from all the wiring and stuff, and it should run. So I go back to this TDI here again. Right where that block off plate is installed, that's where that pipe comes over and across and up, so which would have went to here. So nice and easy. So I think that should get it to run, and then we can at least make sure it's got oil pressure and it's not knocking or anything crazy like that, which I don't think it is, but it would be nice to hear it. Okay, so that pipe's off there now. You're just going to make sure there's nothing in the timing belt area, especially that. Sensors and stuff, if there is a little bit of exhaust flow out of here, that they're not going to get melted right away. We're not going to drive it a whole lot, but just want to see if it runs. And oh shoot, don't lose that gasket, even though it should be replaced, I guess. So as you can see, it runs now. So that's probably a really quick and easy way of diagnosing if you think the turbo is seized or maybe the DPF or something like that. Is just undo your high pressure EGR and just let it all out there, because there's no restrictions until it gets to that valve here. So I imagine it's gonna run and I'll be able to drive it out of the shop, but probably not on the road, anything like that. So that wheel, a turbine wheel, I'm imagining it probably was hot, because it's happened on the highway apparently. So that wheel probably got jammed into the housing and probably partially melted or whatever. It got stuck there now. So it's gonna need a turbo and it should be good to go. Got a feeling it's gonna look exactly like this one here. So same as that last CJAA that I did, was that wheel got broke. So got to use turbo to put on it now. The DPF, there is some soot in the low pressure EGR, so I'm not liking the look of that. And there's also an oil leak on the front end here somewhere. So I got a few little things to order here yet, and then we'll carry on with these CJAA videos for a bit, I guess. So thanks for watching, and hopefully this part 2 or version 2 will help you out.